So I'm going to navigate over to Vectary. Vectary is different. It's a lot simpler. There aren't as many bells and whistles. However, it's not as robust. It's not as user-friendly to me. There aren't as many things you can do with it, but it will work to get you started with 3D modeling. So hopefully you've logged into Vectary already. Know that Vectary only allows you, at least the free version, to create 3 projects at a time. So I've had to go through and delete projects as I've played with it. Right now I only have 2 that have been saved, so I'm going to create a new project. Vectary has been working a little bit slowly this morning, so we'll see how long it takes for a new scene to pop up. But you will see, oh no, get out of here, no. Browser's not authorized. Yeah, authorize this browser, thank you. You will see a similar setup to Maya, but obviously a lot different UI elements all over the place. Again, don't freak out. I've just barely learned this software within the last month. I found it to be pretty simple, pretty user-friendly. Just trying to find things and do the same things I can do in Maya has been a challenge, but hopefully you'll be able to do some things in Vectary. So let's see, the first thing we want to do, so camera operation. By default, we're in object mode. We have object mode and edit mode here. If we hover the cursor over the cube primitive here, I didn't click it, I just hover over it, you'll see a bunch of options for creating primitives, just like we did in Maya. We can do that here. So if I click on box, you should see a box show up in the middle of our scene. Now, a big change. Just by the way, in my directions it says know that box is not the industry terminology. It's not correct. Most industry 3D modelers call these cubes. So you can see that even Vectary has simplified some of the terminology, but make sure we're referring to these as cubes. The Gizmo, which is what this manipulator, I call this a manipulator, some people call it a gizmo, is a lot different. It's actually pretty cool because it allows you to do a bunch of different things on the same manipulator. Similar to Maya, we have arrows for move, we have these arcs for rotate, and we have these little boxes here for scale. Vectary, the people at Vectary created an interesting function that I haven't seen before, and that is a double cube. So know that the cubes on the inside of that double cube, meaning the ones that are closer to the actual center of that object, will allow you to scale the entire cube up uniformly. So if I grab the middle cube, it'll scale up. If I were to only grab the top cube, it would scale up in one direction. Now I hit Control Z in Vectary. Z doesn't work, Control Z does, so make sure you're hitting Control Z in Vectary. If I were to want to scale this way, I just grab that outer cube and go that way. Similar in the Z direction, if I grab this back single cube and go that way, it scales it in the Z direction. Again, the center cubes allow it to scale uniformly. You can also always use the transformation information over here on the right. That will work as well. But what I want to do again is the same thing in Vectary as we did in Maya. So if I click in this void, in this case it's a light gray area, we're going to play with the camera tools. So all you have to do in Vectary, it's really more of a one-handed endeavor, whereas Maya you really need 2 hands to control it. But all I have to do is click on the outside left mouse button and hold to orbit. Middle mouse in this case will zoom the camera, which by the way, depending on where you click is where it'll zoom. It's a little bit clanky, but it works. Right mouse will pan the camera. Okay, so remember, orbit, zoom, and pan. If you get flipped around in Vectary and you feel out of sorts, you can't get your object back, if you hit A, it will frame what's in your scene. You can also hit this little icon up here. If you hover over any icon in Vectary, it'll tell you what it does, which is fit to view. So A is actually a hotkey for this little icon here. Now, if you want to continue to play in Vectary, go ahead, watch a tutorial just like Maya, figure it out. We will move on Thursday and do some different things and get a little bit more advanced as we go. But you really need to get used to the functions of the camera, because in 3D modeling, it's very important to learn how to manipulate the camera. There are cases where you need to get into the right place in order to select something properly and move it in the proper direction. And it's important to understand where you're looking, where you're coming from in the model. So get used to the world, get used to the camera.